Hello, everyone. This is September 23rd, and we are here for another community call and Ask Me Anything session. Last week, today, we launched our Bright token to enable the BrightDAO and involve the community more and decentralize the BrightID team. This week, after a week of welcoming lots of new people, lots of new the bright citizens to our ecosystem, this week in this community call, we're going to focus on BrightDAO and how can people participate in the BrightDAO and take initiatives to make BrightID better and cooperate with each other and get the funds or support each other's proposals. But before we get into the details of BrightDAO and get into the practical matters, I wanted to ask Adam and Philip and others who might know about the statistics about the Bright token and how many new people are we having on BrightID. On Discord, I was looking today that last week before the launch, we were having 12,000 people on Discord. And by this morning, my time, I was looking at above 18,000 people. So we are getting close to 20,000 people on our Discord community. Uh, Regarding the people who are verified on BrightID and are using BrightID through our connection parties, I think before the launch we were touching 30,000 or a bit above 30,000. Uh, can some of us just check how are we doing right now as the number of people who are verified on BrightID?
Yeah, so I like to look at verified as the stat. So we were at 22 at launch, and we're about 27,000 verified right now. So we've added 5,000 verified users in a week.
5,000. Yeah, since the launch, we also increased the number of connection parties that we have. Right now, we have 21 connection parties every day in 6 different languages. So no matter what time you're getting to BrightID, there's always a connection party. It might not be in your language, so you might miss that, but the international ones are, I think, about 15 numbers. So we are increasing the number of parties to accommodate the high demand of new users that we are having because they have heard of the Bright token. But I just wanted this meeting that we have, the community call, the first one that we have after the launch of Bright token, to talk to people about BrightDAO, because Bright token is gaining some monetary value and people are farming it, trading it all over. But Bright token is supposed to be a device to take part in BrightID to help BrightID get better. And it's, as we said in the video, it's your ticket to participate and work with BrightID team in the BrightDAO. But how we actually want to do that and how that's practically done is today's meeting. We're going to talk about BrightDAO and how to use Bright token to participate in all the votings, in all the activities, and through doing that, increasing and earning more Bright. But I just want to ask Adam first, who convinced you that it's a good idea to have BrightDAO and it's a good idea to have the Bright token? Because we were having lots of the discussions about that, and I remember maybe in the beginning you weren't so like for it as a vote in the DAO, but you were convinced throughout the course. What made you agree with Bright DAO and having Bright token?
No, what I said was that if the community wants a DAO, I can't stop them. So they made a DAO. And I ended up doing a whole lot of work on it. It would have been nice if someone else could have done that, but yeah, I mean, I had to spend a whole lot of time creating this DAO, but I mean, the community wanted a DAO, so they get a DAO. That's how it works. I can't, the community is the community. It's not like I'm not the dictator of BrightID, so
Yeah.
it's what they wanted.
To be clear, right? This is the BrightID community DAO. This is community asserting itself and interacting with this public good infrastructure that was built. No one owns the BrightID open source technology. There's people that use it, there's people that support it, there's people that work on it. It's like Bitcoin. No one owns the Bitcoin network. Everyone that participates and interacts with it is using it, supporting it. That's what BrightID, the open source public good software is. And then this is now a very large community of people that can come together cooperatively to use it, improve it, care about it, protect it, all of those things. We've had a DAO responsible for that kind of thing for a long time, BMain, but BMain had about 15 people that were making those decisions. BMain still exists, but now we have BrightDAO with already over 1,000 and eventually many thousands and maybe even millions of people that can collectively work and care for this.
Yeah, so BrightDAO is pretty huge. It's already shaping up. I think by next week it'll be the largest DAO on XDAI chain, and it's shaping up to be really just a really big thing. And I love the Gardens DAO structure as far as allowing people to participate just the right amount they want. You can learn a lot about it and engage a lot. You can become a full-time employee of the DAO if you can convince your other community members that you are, that you have the right qualifications and you have the right proposals. You can, you can work for the DAO. So it's really exciting, and it's exciting to have such a large community, and it's gonna be really cool to see. And I think we have the right tool with the Gardens DAO for such a large community to manage itself.
I hope today we can show how practically that is done. I just want to, suppose I'm a newcomer to BrightID. I'm verified on BrightID, and I also have some Bright in my wallet. And there's BrightDAO. What am I supposed to do? I'm a content creator, or I'm a developer, or I can do research. How can I start my activity in BrightDAO on the ground? How is that practically done?
So the first thing that you need to do is you need to get some Bright. So I know that some people got really excited when they first got their airdrop and they sold some or all of their Bright. Hopefully you still have some. If not, you can always buy back in. But you will need some Bright to participate. And participating means creating proposals. It also means voting in proposals. And the first thing you need to do, and actually we should share a screen. Does anybody have the Gardens DAO up in a browser with a wallet connected so we can see kind of how it looks? If not, I can do it, but I just want to see if somebody already has that set up. Okay, it sounds like not. I'm going to pass it to you, Paslash, so I can set that up.
Thank you.
And I just want to put one note while we're doing that. We're going to show you the bare bones of how it gets started. At this moment, there's not much going on in the Gardens DAO because core folks have been focused on the fair drop. As the fair drop stops being the main focus of our time, everyone's going to get more focused on actually doing things in the DAO. It's going to get much more interesting. There'll be much more obvious opportunity, and there will be more examples of proposals. So, putting up, I don't expect a new person to probably put up the very first proposal but soon there will be other examples that people can follow.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen and maybe we can watch a video together. Let me share this tab. Okay. So can everybody see this gardens screen that I'm looking at? Okay. So let's watch this video. Sometimes sometimes videos in a browser don't work on Zoom. So if it starts to not work, we'll just skip it. But if you go to the DAO, you go to dao.brightid.org, you'll see this video and you can watch it yourself. But let's watch it together and see what we can learn from this.
Welcome to Gardens. The first thing we need to do is connect our Web3 wallet by clicking on Enable Account in the upper right-hand corner. You will need to be connected to the XDAI network and have either a MetaMask or Frame wallet installed to complete this step to log into the Gardens app. If you are a member of an existing garden, you can scroll down to find it in the list below.
Yeah, so you'll notice that our DAO is missing from that list, but soon it'll be in the first place. So it'll be really easy to find. But I want to point out that one thing he said was you need to bring some XDAI over. Or you need to bring some Bright over to XDAI chain. So if you claimed on mainnet, you'll want to use the bridge. And we can show how that bridge works. In fact, let's switch to that really quick, just so I can show you how that works. Let's see. So actually, I think it would be really nice to, if they had a link to the Omni bridge from like from the DAO. If you could, you know how the DAO has some links up at the top. I think it'd be really cool. So I think that's a good suggestion that we should make to the Gardens people to add a link to this. So if I connect my wallet, wait, why is it doing this? Why can't I connect with a regular wallet? Okay. Anyways, yeah, Omni Bridge is something that you need to use to bring your Bright over to XDAI chain. So let me resume the video. I'm not sure why my wallet is not available right now. Let's go back to this. Wait, that's not the right video. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, sorry, this video.
If you're looking for a garden to join, you
Look,
can
there's
explore by
3
clicking
members.
on any one garden to learn more about it. For the purpose of this video, we'll use the Agave DAO. Let's click in to view the garden dashboard where the governance features are located. Here on the Agave Garden Dash, we'll look at each of the features that are available. Starting at the top, we see 2 options, Covenant and Get Agave Token. You should begin your garden's journey by clicking on Reading Through and signing your community covenant, which exists as an IPFS file containing the rules, mission, and vision of the DAO. Once you've read and understood the covenant, you must sign it to bond yourself to the values of your community and unlock access to governance features contained in Gardens. Back on the day.
Okay, so I hope we're taking note of the steps. The first one was to bridge some Bright. And then the next one is to sign the covenant. So yeah, I think he's going to show us how to wrap our Bright in a little bit. So let's keep watching.
Dashboard, you should determine whether or not your DAO has issued a token prior to becoming a garden. If this is the case, you'll see a token wrapping interface, which you must use to perform governance activities. Wrap tokens can be unwrapped at any time. If your DAO did not issue a token prior to creating a garden, you will not be required to wrap your tokens. In case you need to acquire tokens, a Get Token link will be provided for each garden at the top of the page to take you to HoneySwap. Now let's turn to the main governance features available to you as a garden member. If you wish to submit a proposal to the DAO for approval, you will need to deposit the quantity of tokens required for both creating and challenging proposals.
Yeah, so he's going to talk about the difference between wrapping and locking. So wrapping is what you need to vote, and wrapping will also earn, as you can see underneath the wrapping interface, you'll see that you're actually earning tokens from having wrapped them to vote. Then the other thing that you need to do if you want to create a proposal or dispute a proposal is you need to lock, and he's going to show you how to lock your tokens.
In this case, 0.1 agave. You can complete this action by visiting the deposit manager via your account options menu.
So this deposit manager is just for locking tokens. So you only need to do it if you're creating or disputing proposals.
Turning to the Gardens dashboard, we can find the option to create a proposal on the bottom right hand of the screen. It's important to note that proposals created in Gardens are linked to an external forum post where extensive prior discussion is expected to have occurred.
Yeah, so there is a link to our forum up there, and our forum is just starting. I created the very first ideas post, I think yesterday, but anyone else can create their own ideas in the forum. And then in my idea, I'll show you real quick. We'll switch over to that in the forum. So in the forum, I'll show you what an ideas post looks like. So we want a Chinese users guide. And so what we did was I put a task. This is the task I want someone to do. I want someone to complete this task, translate our user guide into Chinese. And I put some requirements of what I think that they should accomplish. And then I put how I think their team should apply. Now, remember, I'm acting as a community member. So as a BrightID community member, this is what I think the community should do to choose the team and how someone should apply to the community to be the one that completes this task. So I said that if a team wants to reply to this post, no one has replied yet, but I do expect someone in the next day or two to apply with their team to complete this task. So they apply, and then I also added some notes about what they might do in the future, but you don't have to follow this template, but this is just maybe a good way to do it. And so basically by creating this idea, I'm just kind of setting myself up as almost like just a temporary hiring manager that's acting for like just the length of this post. So just a few minutes. And then after that, the decision is passed on the community. Do they want to hire this person? Do they want to accept the proposal? So anyone can do this. You don't have to feel like you're some special leader of the community to do this. Anyone can temporarily become a leader to be able to create an idea like this. So this is the idea. And then what's going to happen is after someone applies and has a team and wants to turn that idea into something, a proposal, what they do is they will their team can create a proposal. And this hasn't happened yet, but the team can create a proposal saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to accomplish this task. This is our team. This is how much we want. And then this proposal is also going to be a proposal in the Gardens DAO. And you're going to link to your forum post that you created here with your proposal. You link to it in here. And then that's so that people know what they're voting on. And he's going to show us how to do that.
In the center of the dashboard, you'll find tiles with pending proposals. Each proposal is marked gold for funding or green for suggestions. Scroll down to view active proposals and click on one you find interesting. On the proposal page, you'll find all relevant details, such as a brief summary and link to the proposal text, related token quantities and wallet addresses, and proposal status. A separate video will cover the mechanics behind Gardens proposals known as conviction voting. For now, you can simply support a proposal with a portion of the tokens in your wallet.
Okay, so keep in mind that when you support a proposal, your tokens are still wrapped. They're not.
It's important to note that you're not staking or locking your tokens in any way. You can even trade them while supporting a proposal, although this will result in the decay of your support for the proposal over time.
Yeah, so that's important, is that you can still use your tokens even when you're voting in things. So they're still earning the vote farming reward while you're voting in here. And then later on, if you feel like you need the tokens back, you can withdraw them. And like he said, when you withdraw your tokens from the support of something, it starts to slowly lose support. and maybe he'll talk about that more. Let's see.
When evaluating a proposal, it's important to bear in mind your garden's community covenant. If a proposed action runs counter to the values of your DAO, you can begin the challenge process by clicking the button on the right-hand side of the screen. This will trigger a series of events, potentially leading to the utilization of Celeste, a subjective oracle capable of resolving community disputes in a decentralized manner. In order to successfully challenge a proposal, you must have sufficient honey in your wallet so that Celeste can be engaged if necessary. If you require honey, you can click the Get Honey button to visit HoneySwap. If your honey is subsequently engaged through the elevation of a dispute to Celeste, it will be returned to you should your position prevail at the end of the resolution process. You can learn more about Celeste by visiting the Gitbook wiki or watching one of our YouTube tutorials. To conclude, the first thing you need to do is sign your community covenant. After that, you can either wrap your tokens if necessary or proceed to the next steps directly. Once you've wrapped, you can support any proposal that you like, and you can also head to the deposit manager if you wish to either create or challenge proposals. The last step remaining is that if you require honey, make sure you visit HoneySwap in order to obtain some to hold in your wallet in the event that you wish to challenge a proposal. With that in mind, we welcome you to Gardens and encourage you to reach out to us with any further questions over our Discord.
Yeah, so like they said, that is something that is managed by OneHive, and so if you want to learn more about some of those details, you can ask in the OneHive Discord. And what he said about honey, if you want to participate in Celeste is really interesting. You can earn extra honey by locking honey in Celeste and being in the jury pool. So if there's ever a dispute, it will select people from that pool. And just by being in that pool, you can earn Celeste, you can earn honey from Celeste just by being in that jury pool. So
and
it's
that's
kind
for
of
all the OneHive DAOs, not just the
right,
Bright.
exactly. It's for you can help resolve disputes for all OneHive DAOs, not just ours. So that's an interesting way. It's similar to how you can earn extra Bright for wrapping up your Bright for voting in BrightDAO. You can also earn honey by wrapping up honey in the Celeste to if you want to be a part of a jury if there's a dispute. So anyways, really interesting ways to participate and earn extra honey, earn extra Bright. And yeah, that's how the DAO chooses who's going to work on the tasks and who's going to receive all that honey all that Bright that we have in the community pool. We've got 10 million Bright in our community pool that can be spent on all the proposals that we can think of. So I'm going to turn it back over to Paslar, and we probably have a bunch of questions by now.
He probably left by now.
Paslar's not here. I'm going to turn it back over to Philip, and we probably have some questions.
You want to take questions from the audience now?
I think that might be good. Yeah.
You're welcome to write them in the chat, or we can try raising hands. Giola, are you looking to speak? See your hand up.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a BrightID account. I've been verified over 3 months ago. So I was trying to connect, and it kept loading and loading and loading. So I thought I'll uninstall, then reinstall for me to be able to get it off and start all over again. But I've not been able to get into the account using my recovery wallet. It kept saying 23 sign-ins are not on BrightID. And the 3 of my recovery people are available at the same time. So I've been finding it hard to get back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can do specific tech support right now. I'm glad you were able to recover the account. Worth noting, you don't need to have all of your people available at the same time to do recovery. You and each person need to be actively involved, but that can be separate actions with each of the recovery connections. Our Discord is I guess the best place to bring up technical issues. We're working through helping a lot of people.
So yeah, we have a question from Han. So what's the abstain proposal doing there in the Gardens DAO?
Yeah, the abstain proposal.
Yes.
Yeah, so what didn't get covered in that video there was how conviction voting works. And it's a little bit of a technical kind of implementation, but essentially when you start voting, your vote doesn't take the full weight of the amount that you dedicate to a proposal. It increases up to that amount over time. And in order to pass a proposal, you need to reach a threshold that is determined by how much funds the proposal is requesting, as well as taking into account how much Bright is being staked onto all of the other proposals. So we have an abstain proposal there to have a proposal that has some stake behind it, but doesn't actually ever get executed, so that you can participate in governance, and it basically makes other proposals a little bit harder to pass, so that when there's no proposals out there, somebody can't just sneak in and pass a proposal really quickly and extract some funds out of the common pool. And so if at any point in time, like if you have some funds in the abstain proposal, if at any point in time you want to then create a proposal and hopefully get passed for some funding for a project you want to build with BrightID, then you can remove your funds from abstain and then apply them to your actual proposal, and other people might do the same, and it will make that proposal easier to pass. And then again, if there's no proposals again, you can move it back to abstain to then protect the system.
Yeah, that's a good description. Thanks, Curly. Like just a kind of a high level metaphor that I like to think of is when you put your Bright towards a proposal, you're filling up a bucket. It doesn't dump everything at once. It's kind of like dripping into a bucket, and the bucket's slowly filling up with your conviction or your voting power. And then if you remove it, then it's like you're turning off the faucet, and that there's like a little drain that's slowly draining out of the bottom. So your voting, your votes that you've allocated towards that proposal are just slowly drain away when you remove your votes from it. You remove your tokens from it.
So I'm seeing lots of questions pop in. I'm going to answer some real quick ones. So first off, in order to vote in the DAO, yes, you need to wrap it. And that's a simple process, provided you have Bright on XDAI. It's a quick button click from the DAO. Yes, we can get links to the OmniBridge. Could someone post the OmniBridge link in here?
Yeah, let's put the OmniBridge link. I also want to share, there's a nice guide that Hive wrote about the OmniBridge, and I'm going to share that in a minute.
And someone asked about how do we vet proposals, and we do that in the forum. So every proposal needs to link to a forum discussion. Especially just more complicated things or things that might be controversial, not only would that be an initial post in the forum, but hopefully back and forth among a variety of different people talking about pros and cons, asking questions before it even goes up. What we've seen in a lot of DAOs is figuring out the hard part before, sort of in people space, in meat space, before it ever actually goes up for a vote, often leads to better results. So the more robust that we can make decision, sort of come to conclusions in the forum before we even have the vote, likely the more successful we'll be. That said, someone asked, how do we protect the DAO from just any proposal? And that's the challenge process. So everyone, in order to interact with the DAO, has to sign the covenant, and the covenant says, everyone should read it. but it requires that proposals really be to the benefit of the DAO and not break any of the social cohesions of the covenant. If it does, it can be challenged, and eventually, if the proposer backs down, it just goes away, and if they don't, it can be escalated as far as going to Celeste and having that proposal stopped. So if someone says, "Hey, give me $1 million Bright because I'm a cool guy," that is not acceptable via the covenant. So even if it passes, someone will dispute it, and eventually it would end up at Celeste, and Celeste would read our covenant, read the proposal, and probably conclude that that was not an appropriate proposal to pass.
Yeah, thank you. I want to share my screen because I want to show people this guide. Oops. So sorry, that went to a direct message to someone. I want to send this to everybody, not in a direct message. Okay. Yeah, don't send me direct messages right now, please. Okay, so I sent this to everyone. This is an excellent guide that HoneySwap put out about the XDAI bridges, and I'm going to share my screen so you can look at the guide. I'll just go back to Firefox and paste it in there. So here we go. So there's OmniBridge and XDAI bridge, and you can see that there is, they're slightly different. One is for bringing over DAI, but it's actually much more useful to bring over Bright if you already have some on mainnet. You could use HoneySwap. HoneySwap is just kind of like Uniswap. If you guys are familiar with Uniswap, it's a way to buy Bright. So actually, like if I go back to the DAO, sorry, that's something else. If I go back to the DAO, dao.brightid.org, and I click on Get Bright, sorry, I've already seen this. Trying to get this out of the way. Okay, close. Okay. If I click on Get Bright, I can swap anything for Bright. I can buy some Bright if I need to get some Bright here. But let's say I have some Bright on mainnet and I want to bring it over. Then instead of buying it here on HoneySwap, what I need to do is go to the XDAI bridges. So the OmniBridge. This is the URL, OmniBridge, XDAI OmniBridge.web app. And then from here, it's the notes on the website itself, the little on there are pretty good. So you should be able to figure it out. But you have to you usually, the first time you bridge a token, you have to unlock it. That's one transaction. Then you have to transfer it. That's another transaction. You pick the token you want to transfer from your wallet. That'll be Bright, obviously. Unlock it, that's one, and then transfer, that's the other. This is showing how to bridge some Honey. And so, yeah, remember, you can buy all these tokens in HoneySwap, but this is just if you have them on mainnet and you want to bring it over. And this does cost gas. So it's cheaper if you just start out on HoneySwap and you start out on XDAI chain. But if you do happen to have like some supply you need to bridge back and forth between mainnet and XDAI, this is how you would do it. Okay, so I pasted that link in the chat here, and I've also pasted the link and pinned it in our Discord under DAO. So, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, do you see any other questions, Philip, that look interesting and have to do with the DAO?
There's actually several questions now, but yeah, I
A
don't know
lot
if
of
Philip
people
has
with their hands
any.
raised. I have no idea who was first. So sorry about that.
Maybe instead of the hands, let's go to the questions that are in the chat that are obviously about the DAO. Have any of those not been answered yet?
Okay.
We want to talk about the DAO and not tech support stuff.
So I see one here asking about Celeste. Can anyone be part of the jury to settle a dispute? Won't this be an attraction for too many persons to earn if just anyone can? So it is open to anyone, but you do need to qualify yourself by, first of all, obtaining some honey in some sort of way. And then you need to take that honey and you need to essentially stake it in the Celeste protocol. And the amount that you stake will determine how often you are selected as, the term they use in Celeste is actually keeper, but essentially it is an arbitrator, a juror, so to speak. So you would lock up your honey in the protocol, and then whenever a dispute comes up, you have a chance of being selected to arbitrate the dispute. And there's a small pool of people that are selected initially, and if the result of the first vote gets challenged again, it can go several rounds of this, increasing in size. More and more jurors will get selected, and then the last, if it goes 4 rounds, then everybody, all of the jurors will be selected, all of the keepers will be selected. Yes, anybody can be a keeper, but you will not always be selected as a keeper for the dispute. And then also, the more people that are staking their honey as a keeper, the less rewards everybody will get. So there's a pool of, it's kind of like farming in a sense, where there's a pool of rewards, and that gets distributed amongst all of the people that are acting as keepers.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add there is you link your BrightID to Celeste, and the reason you do that is to limit the number of accounts, that they limit the number of honey each person can put in. So each person is limited to some really high number, like $10,000 worth of honey or something like that. And the reason they do that is they don't want some rich person to just buy the entire jury and be the only member that makes suggestions.
And that number also adjusts as more people add it. So the more people add to, the lower the ceiling becomes.
Looking at other questions, someone asked where the rewards come for wrapping your Bright, and that was something that was decided by the DAO. Currently it only lasts for, I believe, 2 months, but the DAO is perfectly welcome to vote to extend rewards, change rewards for that or anything else, which goes in. Someone also asked about other potential farming rewards. Same thing. The DAO can vote to use its tokens any way it likes. I'll also note that as part of the original setup, we allocated some Bright to be determined to use for various farming incentives. So I'm sure that conversations will happen in forum and in Discord to figure out how best to utilize that. But if you know about this stuff, if you care, feel free to be part of those discussions. Someone asked, is Bright available on any exchanges? We put it on, we saw to it that it be on Uniswap and HoneySwap. Some other smaller exchanges have chosen to add it. We, the community, have done nothing to make that happen, nor do we plan to. Decentralized exchanges work pretty great, but some small exchanges have added it, and if this community grows and succeeds, I'm sure larger exchanges will choose to do it as well on their own.
Well, there's an interesting question here, like what level of control the community DAO has over the dev team?
Okay, so that's a great question. I would love to answer that. We have a so the development of BrightID has been done by, so some of it has been done by a core team, and some of it has been done by outside developers. Like we said, we're open source. That core team is not beholden in any way to BrightDAO. But that core team, we want to keep it pretty small. Let me just give you an idea of what the core team does. So we have a BrightID mobile reference app that a lot of people are using. It's the BrightID app that you have on your phone. We want there to be other apps. We want it that not just to be the only one, but there needs to be a core team of trusted people, just a few people that are responsible for putting that on the App Store. Another responsibility of the core team that only the core team can do is create the public-facing BrightID.org website. So those sorts of responsibilities, also like our Gitbook or our user guide, that's also maintained by the core team. So these things that we haven't yet figured out how to decentralize, though, that's what the core team does. And anything that we can decentralize, we want to put that out to the community, and we want the DAO, the BrightDAO, to take care of it. So for instance, like if people have some ideas for how to improve anti-Sybil algorithms, if they want to contribute software to the node software, to even contributing software and improvements to the BrightID reference app, any of the software, any of the, like the proposal that I showed you, translating that guide into Chinese. So this is all done by the community. So almost everything can be done by the community. There's just a few things like managing central accounts on places like Google and our website and our domain names and things like that, and our the app stores. Those have to be managed by the central team, the core team. But we try to keep that core team small. So I hope that answers that question.
I think there's some more nuance in there as well. Is like, Adam, would you say that the core team or the devs would be beholden to the charter as well?
No, they're not. They don't have to sign the charter. The charter is just for BrightDAO members. The core team has their own like mission and values and stuff like that. Obviously, they care a lot about BrightID, and one of our core tenets is that we want to decentralize as much as possible, and so we try to keep, like, we're always looking for ways to let the community do something rather than doing it ourselves. And we are a small team. We don't want to grow that team. We want to grow the community. We want to keep the team really small, and just do like these really essential tasks that hopefully, will go away in the future and we won't even need to do those.
In the long run, we want the community to take over more and more of these responsibilities as the community is able to do that. So, BrightID core was everything a week ago, and hopefully every day will become less and less essential as the community takes this on. And also, there may be other projects that deeply use BrightID that decide that they want to be very involved in its development, and then their developers can become, people that are driving things. It doesn't need to remain core team forever. Also, I want to give Sandeep a chance. He's been so eager to ask. So.
Hi. I have a bigger question in my mind. You are saying BrightID for one person only. One person can have one BrightID only. If I create two multiple IDs on two devices, then how you will verify that I have two IDs?
So in the long run,
listen. I can join two different verification parties, all two support members from your team. So they can't recognize me. I joined second time, first time.
Absolutely.
So I can make two accounts.
Yes. Today, under the existing level 0 verification that's being used, you could do exactly what you suggested. That's not really the long-term vision of BrightID. BrightID is an analysis of the social graph. In the future, there will be higher level verifications that require looking at the social graph, and it gets much harder to achieve those while you're trying to be fake having more than one account. For example,
That's the question only.
Yeah, so currently there's a verification running in the background called Yetka level 5. Only 2 people out of 30,000 in BrightID have achieved Yetka level 5, and that's Adam and I. The only so it's not a very useful verification for applications to use because only 2 people qualify for it. But we have, based on the pattern of the social connections, we're extremely confident that those 2 users are unique on the system. So you can set the bar anywhere from super easy, you could scam it like you said, to almost impossible for everyone, and anywhere in between. We've got a lot of ideas. There's a game called Aura that's going to come out soon that's going to help pass trust around. There's going to be various different sources of trust. Right now, we're using a seed system that's fairly centralized, that is centralized by longtime members of the team. But in the future, other communities can bring their trust and their connections into the system. And the way that all of those overlap with each other, we believe will lead to a very robust and accurate social graph.
No, I made 2 accounts and I tested. I tested only. I don't want to create any fake accounts like that. I just tested. You can quote me or not. So you can't quote me. So that's why I'm asking again. How I have only 1 verified account, but for testing verification, I did 2 accounts.
Right. It's going to be much harder to get a well-verified account in the future. While we were doing scaling, we chose a low level of verification with a low confidence. It's much more accurate than a CAPTCHA or sort of anything else to prevent bots. The level 0 verification that everyone has right now does not fully protect one person, one account, but it's getting better every day. And we believe that the system we're building will be able to answer that question with a high degree of confidence in the future.
So yeah, we're just like 5 minutes left to finish. I don't know if you want to take another question or if we just should finish the call.
It would be nice if we had questions about the DAO. This call was supposed to be about the DAO.
Cool. Yeah, I am seeing still 2 people with their hands raised. I saw Luis Rodriguez question, but it's not that related to the DAO. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any other question.
About the DAO, we can ask those. Otherwise, we should probably just end.
Yeah, well, the question, and let me try to find it. It's a little bit okay. So yeah, it's not about the DAO. So
yeah, sorry. This is a bit of an AMA, but it's also like mostly AMA about the DAO. Like, ask me anything about the DAO. It's like there's lots of questions about lots of different topics that are really interesting. And some AMA calls, we just have like all kinds of answer all kinds of different questions. But this one, we mostly wanted to answer about the DAO.
So yeah, Josh was just saying that after the tutorial, there's still some questions about it. Like,
oh, definitely. I still had questions after watching. So yeah, definitely ask. We have a DAO channel in our Discord. That would be a great place to ask more questions.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know if you have any final thoughts. I don't see any other questions related to the DAO, so we can finish the call.
My final thoughts are welcome to the DAO. I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are the community. I'm excited to meet you, excited to have you be a part. So yeah, I mean, bring your Bright tokens over and let's have some fun in our DAO.
Philip.
Yeah, really excited to go from a 15-person DAO to a multi-thousand-person DAO. There will be some bumpiness to this transition. That's a wild change. You know, it used to be that every member of the DAO knew each other well. We knew exactly how to communicate. We knew what to expect from each other. That is distinctly not true. But thousands of us together are going to build something so much cooler than what 15 people could possibly do. So really excited to figure out how to coordinate with all of you and make this into something. Some of us have been working on this for years. We deeply, deeply believe in what this could be. We believe that solving this problem is essential for humanity. The unlocks of what it could allow are mind-bending. So please work with us to help figure out this really hard problem, and we can make a difference in the world.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you everyone here. Like I just saw one last comment, like have in mind to probably use the DAO participation to help bring a little bit more trust score in BrightID. So that's interesting, like if you're interacting more in the DAO. So that will be like some of the previous thoughts of Adam of porting a little bit of trust from other platforms. So yeah, just to have in mind. And I think that's all then. Thank you everyone. I don't know if Corley has any final thoughts or anyone else from the BrightID team. So if you do, please go ahead. If you don't, well, thank you very much everyone. I hope to interact with all of you. We're really excited about it, about the DAO and how BrightID is going to evolve with the help of everyone. So thank you very much for being here. See you later.
Yep. Let's stop the recording. And then I see a couple more questions. So I'm happy to stick around